I know we also got some people on the Facebook Live, so we will, I'm sure we have some first timers over there. Sarah, this is her first time in here, awesome. Yeah, so we got a couple first timers in here. Nora from Israel, cool. Well, Rafe, we got you in, so for the people who are on here for the first time, why don't you just tell us real quick, why should people be so excited about today's presentation? Why are we all here?
Yeah, so this is the final episode in this webinar series. This has been a huge production to put on for us. It's been really cool to kind of coalesce some ideas that we've been working on for a long time and be able to share them with you guys and to see the response. The response has been amazing. We've had like up to 160 people on these live calls, which was amazing. We've had, dozens watching on Facebook as well, and hundreds watching the replays. And we've seen never seen so much engagement on social media. So many people just, dropping questions, sharing their journeys, getting out, climbing trees, seeing people climbing trees all over the world, seeing people going on walks, going on hikes, playing with their dogs, playing with their kids. It's been really exciting. So yeah, so that's been super fun to see. And today we're going to be kind of going back and summarizing some of the ideas for you, like what was this all about? What are we really proposing? And then we're going to kind of go forward with some ideas around, how you can make this real for you. And one of the big things we're going to be doing with that is talking about our online academy, which we're really excited about. We've been building all these programs for a long time and testing them out repeatedly with different cohorts of students and having incredible responses. And we've redesigned it to make it a lot more flexible, a lot easier for people to use. And this is the first time that we're opening it up in this new iteration. Yeah, so it's going to be very exciting. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for Ray for giving into the little preview of what we have coming up. I'm just gonna, maybe I'll do a little bit of housekeeping on our end while you get your PowerPoint set up. And then I think Justine as well is actually, if you can make her co-host. All right, so we got that set up, cool. So yeah, you're getting your thing set up. Just logistically, by the way, I'm Andrew, for anybody who's coming in for the first time. I'm the systems guy, Rafe is the content genius. Justine's over here helping us out with tech. And so we got a solid team on here live, and then of course some of our EMP coaches are sprinkled in. They'll be popping in and out, responding to questions, as well as on the Facebook group. If you do have questions, then feel free to just drop those in the chat, and Justine's going to be pulling those to the side, and we'll be getting to all those at the end. But we do want to make it we got a lot of stuff to get into. We're really excited to go through everything. And so this is the kind of thing you want to set aside all distractions. If you are on Facebook, then come on over to the on the website, or even right here on Zoom is actually the best place to be. If you're in Zoom, then you can maybe close out some of the other distraction things that might be going on. Yeah, and so we'll be running through all this here in just a second. Rafe, how are we looking with getting the slides up?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Slides are up and ready.
All right, so slides are ready. We got a nice giveaway for those who stick around at the end. And I think maybe Rafe, you can just jump straight in around there. What is this giveaway even that we're talking? I did skip through a couple of those intro slides while we were getting set up. Yeah,
so welcome to the movement revolution. As Andrew was saying, there's a great time to set aside distractions so we can really dig deep and drop some questions. We'll be harvesting the questions and answering those at the end. And then today is the big day. We are giving away access to the EMP Academy. So stick around to the end of the call to see if you're going to be one of the folks who are going to be the person who gets that. And then on Monday, we will also be giving away a EMP retreat. So keep working with us, keep sharing, keep engaging, and you will earn a chance to win that retreat, which our retreats are really The best thing, you know, we were incredibly excited about being able to share that. David Henderson, I love your background there. That's what everything should look like, right? So yeah, so once again, you know, as I mentioned, we've had so much engagement and seen so much stuff, which has been really exciting. So keep doing that, keep sharing your movement, keep letting people know what this is all about. We're announcing that winner today. So yeah. The movement revolution is for you if you're looking to break out of a boring or stalled routine, right? If you want to improve coordination, strength, and mobility, right? If you're struggling with current or past injuries that have held you back, if you're, you know, looking to relieve issues of fear, right? Feeling overwhelmed or sort of being lost. There's so much information about fitness and movement out there. It's not just about information, it's about finding guides, right? It's about finding ways to navigate that information, because a lot of it is false, a lot of it is misleading, a lot of it is not contextualized or prioritized properly. So sometimes having a guide can be incredibly powerful. If you aren't sure of what goals to set or how to get started, this is going to be great. And then, you know, if you have goals and are struggling to sustain them, this is a really common thing we see in the practice, right? Is kind of getting stuck, getting plateaued or falling behind because you can't build a good structure around your practice. And then obviously, if you're just looking to reconnect with your body, your mind, and nature, then this is going to be great for you. So yeah, so if all that makes sense, then you're in the right place right now. So in our first discussion, we talked about the idea of whole food movement, which is the idea that movement is nourishment. And this isn't an analogy. This is literally physically true at the level of the cells. The cells respond to the forces that you expose them to, and that moves fluids around, it moves nourishment around, it moves, it changes neurochemical signaling. So we need movement, and not only do we need movement that is congruent with the way that we evolved. So movements that have been around for a long time evolutionarily are like whole foods in our diet, right? They are the things that we need to base our movement off of, and this is where we think the fitness industry, it's where the fitness industry is really failing in a lot of ways. This is kind of a random tangent, but I don't know how many of you guys follow the NFL right now, but there have been an incredible rash of injuries at the beginning of the NFL season. There's been something like 8 ACL tears. And so a lot of that has to do with the way that the players were isolated from training and had to accelerate their training and their training loads due to COVID. But this is a long-term trend that we're seeing in the NFL. And I believe it's because of this issue that I raised in that first one of proportional weakness, right? We're making athletes strong, but we're making athletes strong in a very undiverse way. So they have some tissues and some lines of motor control that are really well developed, and then they have other areas that they're very blind to, and then the tissue quality is low. And so we're seeing that when you apply a lot of force to an area that's not prepared, you know, you have a mechanism for an injury. So we're saying, you know, a lot of times if you want to really nourish your body, you need to approach it as a whole food thing. So then we talked about that's not only true at the physiological level, that's true at the psycho-emotional level, and really at the level of kind of how we orient and organize our life. And that to have meaning in life is sort of one of the most critical, is the most critical thing that we could be oriented towards. And the aspect of movement is really underrated, but what we know now from cognitive science is actually that it's at the very heart of it, and it's the only aspect of our practice that allows us to completely integrate all of the ways that we know the world. So that's, you know, propositional, being able to semantically represent it and have symbols you can juggle in your head about an idea. And then procedural, actually being able to do something, right? I can tell you how to do a Kong vault, and you may understand perfectly well semantically what I'm talking about, but it doesn't mean you can do that. And then perspectival, what does the world look like once you actually can do the skill? Where can you see opportunities for that skill? And we talked also about in this that you miss this if you're not exploring the environment, right? You can have the perspective of a parkour athlete, but only in a parkour gym, or only in an urban setting and not in a natural setting and not in the world in general. And then last, participatory, right? How does this transform you over time, right? Who is the person that you are when you are practicing these things? And that's the participatory layer. And really within movement, we need movement in order to fully integrate, especially that participatory layer. And then that is also the 4 E's of cognitive science, right? Are we embodied, right? Our consciousness, our self cannot be extracted from the body, the environment the body moves through, the acting out within that environment, and being extended as part of a network. And when we engage in movement practice, and when we connect that movement practice deeply to other things, then that's where we're going to get our meaning in life. And that's what we talked about in our second one, was how we build an ecology of practices that includes mindfulness, nature connection, and community, and why we think those are central, and how those sort of reciprocally together ground a practice that can really take us where we're looking to go. And then we went deep into what are the movements that make up whole food movement, right? And how we really think that that fundamentally we need a healthy, movement-oriented, outdoors, nature-based, whole food, good sleeping kind of primal lifestyle as the base of our health. And then next we need the ability to move well through the world. And we also may need things like dance, we may need things like martial arts, we may need things like lifting and carrying. All those are reflections of our evolutionary heritage, but they're more variable in how much we need them. And so we guide people through those a little bit more optionally based on where they're coming from. And then today, we're gonna be looking at taking the next step and actually getting started on this movement journey, whether with us or on your own. So, over the last 3 webinars, or this is the fourth webinar, yes, over the last 4 webinars, 3 webinars, we've been offering you guys a lot of information. But information is not the sum of knowledge. There is more to this. We need to be able to put these things into action. We need to make our movement practice. We need to make this concept that we shared participatory. And I just want to highlight that so many of you guys have. It's been amazing to watch all of the videos that have come out of people just getting involved, and also all the discussions that people have been having about what they've learned, and how this has changed the way that they've been relating to their partners, how it's changed the way they've related to their children, the way it's changed the way they've been relating even to their pets, and to society at large, and how they're seeing their movement and seeing these concepts play out in society. So this is already happening, which is really beautiful. It's beautiful to see. So we need to put this into action, but there's much more we can do that. So we're going to be looking at, right, why this is the best time that we can get started, right? Now is always the best time to start something that's transformational. How we can build that, and how we might want to work together to help you guys achieve your goals. So why is now the best time to start? I think you guys know the answer to this. Like, let's all just drop your answer in the chat. I'm curious what people have to say. I'm going to pop up the chat here and be able to see it.
And while you're looking through the chat there, Rafe,
yeah.
I might chime in a little bit here as well, because being an online course guy and a systems guy, we're in a time where there are more people doing online movement education than ever before. There is new records of, I don't remember the exact number, so don't quote me on it, but I think it was something like a 530-something% increase in the online course space. So that's huge. And then of course there's this fun thing that we've been talking about is when was the best time to plant a tree? It's 20 years ago, but when's the next best time to plant a tree? We can do that right now, and that's kind of what you were talking before.
Yeah. So Colin says there's literally no time like the present. Yeah, there we try to go. I like Justine says, today is the oldest we've ever been and the youngest we will ever be. Right?
It's a good one.
That's a good one. I like this one from Addie is great too. Tomorrow is an action evasive concept, right? Thinking about tomorrow is avoiding taking it on today.
Yeah.
Live in the now. Tomorrow is not promised to anyone. The best way to learn how to keep a cow is to just get one. It's always now. And then Jeremy says, it's not so hot in the Mountain West right now. So yeah, so we got a ton of beautiful responses here, guys. Thank you guys so much. So, so the most powerful moment we always have is the now, right? If we believe that a practice is going to have transformational power for us, the time to start it is when we recognize that it's there for us. And it's so easy to procrastinate. It's so easy to think about all the things that could be getting in our way and preventing us. But a lot of times that's just a story in your head. And, you know, I've seen people do this over and over and over and over again. You know, people say, oh, I'd love to do parkour. I'd love to do natural movement. I'd love to do martial arts, but I need to get fit, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. And then they don't. And years go by, all right? The Chinese say, there's a beautiful Chinese saying I like, which is the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, right? That says it as much as anything, right? When you look at a high level practitioner of something, what you're seeing is years and years of practice. And it can be very, very intimidating when you're looking at that to think, I could become that. But what I've always found with people is that at the beginning of their journey, they almost always underestimate what they're capable of. And they also underestimate what it's going to take to get where they want to go, right? So people somehow have this, I can't do it, but if I did it, it would be easy. And it's like, no, you can do it, but it's going to take time and real effort. And so if you want it, you better start putting in the time and the effort right now. Let me see, boom, here we go. Yeah, so you can ask yourself, 6 months from now, where are you? If you start a practice, where can you imagine yourself? And if you don't start the practice, where will you be? Vervaeke has this beautiful term, the imaginal, right? We tend to think of imaginary as kind of fantasy. And imagination is just being like a place where we escape from the world. But Josef Frusick, one of my friends in the movement world, he said something to me really interesting. He said that we know that imagination is more powerful than knowledge. And I was really struck by that. I was like, what is he talking about? And then I ran into Vervaeke's work, and he was going deep into this idea of the imaginal. And it really struck with me, because we can't create anything unless we can create an image of it that pre-exists it in our mind, right? So the act of creation, the act of growth, is in being able to project yourself forward. And this is perhaps one of those extraordinarily unique human capacities, right? So when we can create this archetype, this imaginal self that we're moving towards, it's incredibly motivational and transformational. So yeah, I just, drop a comment in there. 6 months from now, if I dedicate myself to practice, this is the transformation I can imagine. 6 months from now, if I don't, where might I be? So this is our argument. What we need is a whole food movement system as part of an ecology of practices. And once again, you know, we don't think that this whole food idea is an analogy. It's there is chemical food, right? Here's something that Vervaeke said that also is fascinating to me. Is food is not a objective category, right? If you're a chemotroph, right? There's these little bacteria deep within the ocean that live off of energy that comes out of chemicals that are released through vents in the ocean floor. And the things that they eat are extremely toxic to us. And they couldn't eat the food that we eat, right? And animals that are herbivores can digest grass, and we can't digest grass, right? And they couldn't necessarily digest meat. Food is a relationship between you and the environment. And it's something that allows you to make yourself, right? You make yourself through the chemicals that you bring into your body. That as an agent, you have a capacity to transform those chemicals to allow you to make yourself. And in the same way, the movements that you choose, the movements that you bring into yourself, they transform you. They are food, right? So the question is, what kind of food are you feeding yourself? On Tuesday, I got to sit in my garden while I gave this lecture. Unfortunately, there's supposed to be thunderstorms today, so I couldn't set up myself in the garden. So I'm sitting in my chair. And recently, I've been doing a lot of sitting in my chair, which I'm not very happy about. Yesterday, I had to work 16 straight hours to prepare for this, plus to help out with the upcoming embodiment conference. So what am I feeding my body? I'm feeding my body extended periods of time in this one position. And I train my body. I do crazy things. A couple of weeks ago, I did a 10-hour canyon run, which was fantastic. And my body's starting to hurt from sitting right now, right? I'm getting sore knees and sore feet, weird little pains because I'm not nourishing my cells the way that they need, you know? So before I came on this call, I went for a walk because I needed to get my lymph moving. I needed to move myself. I needed to get out in the sun. When we take on this idea, it really is informational about how we can transform ourselves. What is the person that you want to become? And what are you feeding yourself to allow that transformation? How are you making yourself? You are an autopoietic creature. What are you making of yourself? And what you're making of yourself is, at the root of it is what you're taking in, which is water and air and chemicals and mechanical changes to the cell, right? The mechanical relationships your cells get from the way that you move is foundational to what you become. Those are the foundations, right? And sleep. So we need this. So then we proposed that within that, we need it to be part of an ecology of practices, right? So what is the ecology of practices, right? The way that you are transformed by movement is not just physiologically, right? Your cognition, your consciousness is bootstrapped on top of the processes that allow you to transform yourself physically. And you can gain so much. And we know that movement can be the foundation of a true self-transformation practice. We can't really transform ourselves in some ways without some kind of movement. But we also know that many people run into traps in trying to transform themselves with movement. They miss the message. They start using it as a place to hide. Or they're not getting all the meaning that they could because they're not putting it in relationship to the things that it needs to be in a relationship to. And when we engage with community, nature connection, and mindfulness, we're able to create those reciprocal relationships that truly allow us to harvest the meaning that we're looking for. And then within the movement, this is the foundations. We need to be able to sleep well, nourish ourselves with food, water, and air well, do just low-level physical activity as frequently as we can, be in nature, have good community. And then physically, if we want to be the strongest, the most capable version of ourselves, it has to start with being able to move ourselves, because in order to move something else, you have to move yourself. And what is your relationship with the environment? How are you embedded in the environment? What are your options when you move to the environment? How can you see the world? We think this is the foundation. And then once that's built, how do I make myself stronger so I can keep growing in that way? How do I express that relationship with being able to lift, carry, throw, juggle, play with objects? How do I play with other people? Can I do acrobatics with other people? Can I engage in dance with other people? Can I play sports with other people? And then could I defend myself if I needed to? And recognize that you may never need to, but your ancestors did. And there's something like 400 million years of evolution behind roughhousing and the and the value that it brings for you. So what is this all about? Our ultimate goal is to grow through practice such that the world becomes more deeply meaningful to us, to practice in a way that allows us to fall in love with the world, ourselves in the world, and ourselves as part of a community. Right? This is our proposal. It's not about your abs. It's not about your VO2 max. It's not about the size of your muscles. It's not about how pretty your patterns are and how many Instagram likes you can get. Ultimately, all of those sources of motivation tend to fail people. The first online client I ever had, he had gone from, he read Born to Run, I think, and got into barefoot running when he was like 19 years old. And then he went into to MoveNat right away. He became a personal trainer, and then he got it kind of into the CrossFit thing because that's what people were sort of, that's what he was getting a response from people in the gym. So he got really into kind of lifting the heaviest thing that he could lift. And then he hooked onto movement culture. And now he was getting tons of likes on Instagram because of the handstands that he could do. And because he could, squat 400 pounds at 170 pounds of body weight, right? And he told me he felt trapped by it, that the only reason he was doing these movements was because they got him likes on Instagram. Right? And he wanted to practice, he wanted to love moving, but he couldn't see himself out of the movements that he was getting rewarded for by social media. Right? So I think we have scripts around movement in our culture. We have a meaning system around movement in our culture, and it is decayed and corrupt, and it is not serving us. And when we think about how we fix that by just thinking about a better way to try to build someone's muscle, a better way to try to get someone fit, when we don't think about the overarching meaning system, we're not getting to the heart of the problem and being able to really solve it. Yeah. If you knew where you could be and what you could do, what would that look like? Where can you imagine yourself? Can you project yourself into that future? So we have a couple of options, right? You can keep doing it as you are. You can keep practicing in the way that you have been, and you'll probably get similar results, right? You can also do this yourself, and this is always important to me as an ethical principle. I figured this out. I'm mostly self-taught. You can self-teach yourself, and there are people who are on this call probably, or who are going to watch it, who have faced real financial issues, but they may be young and they may be very self-motivated, and they can go out there and they can discover something really cool by pushing themselves. And I've done that. And it's also been very costly and difficult. And if you can avoid it, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that path when there's another path that's laid out for you, right? Sometimes you want to be the guy bushwhacking, right? But it's tiring, right? It's nice to be able to follow in the other guy's footsteps, right? To follow in somebody's wake can be very powerful. So, for me, I told you guys the story of going through, is this just play, right? What does parkour mean? What is the philosophy of parkour? Trying to become a competitive athlete, trying to create competitions at the same time, being burned out, feeling like I wanted to be in the woods, but feeling like I needed to be in the gym. And then back spasms, panic attacks, ligament injuries, torn Achilles tendons, torn up shoulders. There's this beautiful model that Jordan Peterson talks about, which is this idea of resolution, right? So how many of you guys remember 64-bit video games, right? And now you can watch video games that are almost photorealistic, okay? So that's pixels. How many pixels are there? So how representational is that? So you can imagine that your ability to understand a problem, it can be really nuanced and sophisticated and look like a 4K understanding of how to get better. Or you can have a 64-bit version of getting better. And unfortunately, a lot of times when you're out there on the leading edge trying to figure out something for yourself, you're basically working with the 64-bit model. And so, you know, those jumps from being able to do this to being able to do the next thing, they can be hazardous, they can be dangerous. You're going to run into problems. And what we gain from experience is the ability to see a problem and see all the things. So you know, you're going out and you're training and you want to do a jump. And so you do a jump and it's 10 feet. And okay, you want to hit the next jump and you need to progress. But the next jump that you can see is 12 feet. And it's too far for you. And you can huck yourself at it and you might get hurt, right? But maybe the guy or the person who has been training for a little bit longer can point out, oh, there's actually a jump over here that you can do that you wouldn't have noticed. That's actually just 10 feet and 3 inches, right? Or here's a way to progress it, right? Here's all the things that you can do. That ability to break things down into smaller pieces and better resolution is the huge advantage that comes from having people who walk that path before you. So this is the pathway that we have to success, right? You can see the movement capacities that I have. You can see the articulation and the ideas and the community that's come together through it. You can see Robert and Kyle and all of our coaches and kind of, you know, be aware of the experiences and what's come out of that. So that's why we created this online academy. I want to tell you guys a little bit about the online academy, like why it really came into existence, because I think it's something like 5 or 6 years ago, someone told me, like, you know, this future is on the internet. You got to build an online course, and I was like, that makes sense as a business model. And yet I was having these incredibly profound experiences teaching workshops to people in person, and I just had a really hard time with the idea of, would this really deliver the same kind of value? And so I just kept building my business model around the traveling workshops, which was great. And it was awesome. And I got to travel the world and I got to see amazing trees everywhere and train with these amazing people. But it was also a struggle to make it really work. And the impact was small because I could only work with 20 people at a time. And I had people come to my workshops and they would tell me that it was the most profound movement workshop that they'd ever experienced. We had this feedback over and over again, but I'd come back the next year and they'd sign up, sure enough, the next year. And then I'd ask them, what have you been doing? Like, how's your training been going? And they'd be like, oh, I've mostly been training in the gym. I've mostly been doing handstands. I've mostly been doing coordinations. I've mostly been doing practice ball stuff. And I was really surprised by this, but I started asking and I started thinking about it. And what I realized was that most people have a cultural script that they've embedded in themselves, that physical practice is something that happens in the gym. And it's not such a big challenge for somebody to step from practicing by, by being in the weights or being on the machines or being in that, to just walk over into the aerobics room and practice locomotion, all right? Or practice handstands or practice gymnastic strength. That's actually much less of a profound shift in habit. And so what we realized was that the people who were coming to our workshops, they were hungry for a support system that could help them make that break, that could give them the ability to keep the practice running after we left, because they couldn't see it. They didn't have a fine-tuned enough vision to go out and find natural environments to train in for themselves. They didn't know how to do that. They didn't know how to build habits around it. They didn't know how to create a practice around it. We could share what the movement looked like. We could share the skills. We could share the philosophy, but we couldn't give them enough of a program practically to keep many of them going. Some did, but most students struggled with it. And so we built this online course first to answer that problem. And we had people who literally just come to one of our retreats, jump on this. And we had people who'd been working with us for like 3 years who'd been coming to our online, to our in-person classes and to our retreats. And they found it incredibly profound to have this structure to help them build the habits that they really wanted to build. So that is why we built this, right? So when So what is this, right? We have a huge emphasis on habit forming, right? You are ultimately the product of the habits that you form. And you can have lots of great ideas, lots of great motivations. You can have tons of knowledge about how to do things. And if you don't make a habit out of it, it doesn't really take you there. So we've built a lot of sequential habit forming into these online programs. And we've also made them playful, right? We talked about this idea of intrinsic motivation. And then we've also provided a system of standards for you to move towards, so you can measure your practice, so you can see those fine gradients, so you can know that you're progressing and what you need to progress and where you're going. And then, you know, one of the big things that we found with so the idea of our first online course was 6 weeks to basically set up your practice for good, right? So you'd be able to really run this practice for yourself and have all the pieces. And for some folks that worked really well, but for a lot of folks, it's just a lot of material to try to cover in that amount of time, right? There's 100+ videos in that initial thing. There's 5 different movement skill trees. There's habit formation, there's natural lifestyle, there's meditative programming, there's all these things. So the reason that we kind of switched it around and built this online academy was to give you guys a lot more freedom to be able to take on specific skill trees sequentially and build around a base template of your practice that will give you way more flexibility as you're moving forward. So since then, we now have over 150 training videos that are in that online academy for you guys. And you know, they're broken down, they're very practical, there's lots of fun in them, there's lots of inspiration in them. And you know, basically you're gonna get to understand ground flow, how we move in relationship with the ground, how we do break falls, how we build a relationship with the ground, then how we get under and over things. So we've got 2 full courses on that that can take you pretty deep into the skill trees of these aspects. And then we have climbing. You know, we've talked so much about how human beings are climbing animals, 90 million years of climbing. And nobody's ever built anything like this, as far as I know, like a program around how to free climb in trees. It also has aspects that apply to moving on rock and moving on urban terrain. And we help you guys figure out how to use pull-up bars and playground equipment to get your journey started. You know, if you're not strong enough yet to get into the trees or you don't know where the trees are. We have break falls and rolls, as I mentioned before. Like so many people are limited in their ability to move forward in skill because of their fear of hurting themselves, and having the ability to buffer the types of falls that you might take is immense. And then we have a jumping program, right? There's foundational. How do you jump? What are the different coordination patterns? How do you build it up? How do you become the type of person who can really fly through the air and use it to solve problems? And then after we've progressed through the basics of jumping, we have the ability to run up, run along, tic-tac off walls and vertical surfaces, which can be a tree, it can be a rock wall, it can be a city wall. So those are some of the programs that we currently have for you guys right now. And we will also be offering new programs coming out. So we have a swinging based program, right? So once you can climb, you know, human beings evolved from climbing animals, and then we became swinging animals. Brachiation is one of the coolest aspects of human movement for me personally. It's the reason we have shoulders that can move in 180 degrees. It's what pre-adapted us to the ability to throw. The number one, like one of the things that people keep coming back to our website with, for whatever reason, is brachiation. People are fascinated by it. And only human beings and apes have this brachiation capacity. So we're gonna be bringing that in. We have lots of other upgrades to the locomotion. Then we're going to be bringing in that elastic strength I mentioned, right? A lot of people are stuck in their ability to progress with locomotion because of lack of general strength development. And we do find that, that some of the traditional strength training tools can be very useful when they're in the context of this ecology of practices. And so we're going to be building that out for you. And then we have a program about how to learn to put these pieces together and flow. And we have more courses coming out. And as someone in the academy, you will also have the opportunity to give us lots of guidance on what are the programs you're excited about. So for instance, we've learned that a lot of our students are really excited about ideas about how they get play and natural movement to children. That's something that's come out of this process, and we're really excited about building some resources to help you with that. We've mentioned mindfulness routines, right? So we teach the basics of concentration meditation, and we set up journaling and reflections and storytelling to help you guys connect to this. And we have growth tracking to figure out how you're growing as a human being through this process. And then a really big part of this, and something we're really excited about with the academy, is the ability to connect people through these calls like we're doing now, right? Once a month to twice a month, we are going to be meeting with all of the students on the call and sharing our journeys, right? Sharing community and figuring out where we need to grow as a community and what people want. And we're going to be sharing our readings and sharing our research and sharing our movement research and sharing your movement research. So that's going to be a huge aspect of it. One thing that we found a lot of people in our community really, really love is the podcast. Like I know probably a lot of you who are on this call first encountered us or really dive deep with us through the Embodied Movement Summit. So most of the people who are, or a lot of people who are at the Embodied Movement Summit have been guests on our podcast. And we found there's just tremendous energy in the kind of conversations and dialogues that we happened there. So what we want to do is create a more community-oriented way of really breaking that down. So Justine, who's done all these beautiful guides for you guys, she's going to be sticking with us and providing breakdowns of each episode of the podcast that are going to just be people who are on our membership, right? They're going to be available for you guys. They're going to be action guides. What can you do when I have a conversation with Kelly Storette, when I have a conversation with Nick Winkleman? How can you take that and act it out in your practice right away? And, you know, how can you grow as a mentor? And then we'll also obviously be having those conversations around that as well. So we're going to be having a lot of kind of using these conversations. So once this launch is wrapped up and once we'll actually be having the podcast starting to come out again, I believe, in a week or two. So we've got 3 podcasts scheduled to go. Really excited about them. We have George Brill, who is an anthropologist who worked with the Batek people, who are famous for their tree climbing. And he's also spent time with the Baju, who are famous for their free diving. So it's a conversation about the evolution of human movement with an anthropologist who worked in the field with these people. We have Philip Chubb from The Mindful Mover, who's going to be talking about how we apply minimal viable dose ideas to physical practice. And we have Max Henry, who is going to be talking about the hero's journey and parkour with us. And so we're going to be sharing those with you guys, and you'll have access to all these things as part of the membership. Yeah. How will we grow together, right? So we actually, this is really exciting for us. We've been using Facebook. A lot of you guys have been involved in our Facebook community, but we've just got on this new software, Circle, which is going to allow us to create a really specific engagement process that won't have all of your notifications from Facebook distracting you, right? We actually hate Facebook and want to get ourselves out of it as much as possible. We think social media is poisonous and is literally hurting people and destroying Western democracy. Maybe that's a little excessive, but we're not big fans of it. And so we've had to use it as a tool, but now we've got a better tool, and we're really excited about being able to create community through that tool. So that is another aspect of what we're going to be doing, right? You'll have direct access to our coaches. We'll be giving feedback on your movements when you upload videos. So all the stuff that you've been getting through the Facebook group is now going to be through Circle, and it's going to be exclusive to people on membership to basically be able to get access to these. Boom. Let's see what's next. Who are you going to be doing this with, right? So you're going to get your questions answered on live coaching calls, right? We're going to be having peers mentoring. We have a lot of really wonderful people who've dived deep into this practice for the last year and a half of us offering it, who love kind of helping other people. And so they're volunteering their time to lead calls. We have a call every week for people who are in the IMP currently, and this is going to continue as we open the academy. And then monthly, you're going to, definitely get to speak with some of the EMP coaches, and we'll also be able to bring in people like John Vervaeke, like Nick Winkleman, like Kelly Starrett to answer your guys' questions specifically. So that's what we're going to be doing. So this is what is in this online academy for you guys. All of these courses, ground flow, vaults 1 and 2, climbing, break falls and rolls, jumping, wall running. And we are committing to doing a new course every quarter. So when you sign up, you'll be getting a year of new courses as well. And we've talked about what we have coming up, right? We're going to be working on mindfulness routines and practices. We're going to be building this podcast. And we're going to be doing it as part of a community where we're going to have feedback on your movement from our coaches. We're going to have mentor calls with volunteers in our community. We're going to have support calls, and we're going to have that online circle community where you're going to have access to our coaches. Boom. So this is what you're going to get. You're going to discover fun and practical natural movement basics. You're going to break out of that raw routine, improve coordination, strength, and mobility. And this is something that we're going to be able to do for you, even if you struggled with injuries in the past. Right? Karen, who's one of our great folks, we'll probably talk about her a little bit later. She came into our program with a broken arm and has done amazingly, improved incredibly. We're going to build habits that are going to help you move forward with your practice, even if aren't you sure where you should get started or what your goals are. We're going to build that focus and your mental clarity and relaxation, help you overcome fear. And we're going to help you reconnect to your body, to nature, to your mind, and to community. And we can help you even if you don't have any training locations. So why would you not want to do this? That's a good question. I don't know. Post your answers. Is there, who would this not be for? Who can you imagine? I think for people who have a really specific passion and who are really deeply engaged in that right now, and it's taking them somewhere that they're very curious about. Like if you are on a super deep dive into meditation that's taking hours and hours and hours of your life, or you're going way into like big wall rock climbing, if you're Chris Sharma, Alex Honnold, maybe this would be too much of a distraction, and you're doing something that's giving you that sense of meaning and community and nature for yourself, right? If you're not financially ready, I don't think that's the best reason. I think find a way. We really worked hard to make this workable for people, and we are willing to work with people who can demonstrate a real financial need. But otherwise, yeah, I'm struggling personally, and I do try to be as honest with these things as possible. Colin says people not ready to commit to changing. Sarah says I feel intimidated. So, yeah. I'd love to hear you say why you feel intimidated. In parkour, we have this practice of breaking the jump, right? I am standing in front of something that I have not done before, and it's at the edge of my ability. And it really is, it's hard to make that leap sometimes. And when we do, we find it's transformational, and being able to overcome that fear is incredibly powerful. So yeah, being intimidated, not necessarily a good idea. Sometimes that's a good signal that it's the thing to do, but it's definitely something that we love to talk to you more about and figure out why that is. Here's some testimonials about us, right? How many of you guys give us a little thumbs up or a little clap on the participants banner over there if you have watched John Vervaeke's presentation from the EMS, or if you have been following the Awakening from the Meaning series, John, or maybe you just became aware of him through our last our Movement in the Meaning Crisis talk, right? John is the director of cognitive science at the University of Toronto, and one of the, I think, you might say, prophets of the meaning crisis, who's really describing this. And yeah, he's not an assistant professor anymore. He's actually the director of cognitive science there. And he's become a real mentor to me. You know, we were just going back and forth via text, because he's going to put the video from the Body Movement Summit up on his website, and he was just telling me how excited he is about that. But yeah, there's, you know, he is literally on the ground floor in a scientific revolution about thinking about embodiment, and about thinking about an ecology of practices and pursuing an ecology of practices. And he's told me straight up that he thinks that my method is an exemplar of exactly what he is articulating. And that he said in one of our interviews after we had got done speaking, you know, kind of towards the end, that he thought I'd built something better than he could have built if he had set out to build it rather than describe what needed to be built, which was extraordinarily kind of him, right? So he's taken a look at this program and gotten started on it, and you know, here's what he had to say about it, right? If you want to get in touch with your own embodied agency in a way that will transform your sense of connectedness to yourself, to other people, and to the natural world, here's a real opportunity to make a deep and lasting difference to who you are and how meaningfully you live. It's pretty amazing to get that kind of feedback from someone like him. This is Joel Smith, who's a assistant strength and conditioning coach at the University of Berkeley, who works with a lot of elite athletes and has interviewed just about everybody in the strength and conditioning world. And you know, he had me on his podcast. It was funny, I just had started following his podcast. I was like, I should really get on this podcast. This is a good podcast. And then he reached out to me kind of right after that, a few weeks after that. And I don't know how familiar he was before, but after we spoke, you know, he really did a deep dive in, and he was going to come to our autumn retreat, which we had to cancel this year because of COVID. But he said, in the short time I've known Rafe's work, I've found many of the answers I've been looking for the last decade of my coaching life. I'd highly recommend it. And ideas to anyone in the community of health and human performance, from the university or pro strength coach to a freshman basketball coach or YMCA dance class instructor. There's so much joy and power to be found in a modern training. There's so much more joy and power than is found in modern training systems, and Rafe's system is more needed now than ever. Karen and the injury. So this is Karen Reyes. She's one of our biggest supporters. She's been such an amazing member of our community. She's come to Return to the Source twice. She's come to the autumn retreat. But her first trip to the Return to the Source, she'd been super intimidated to come and join us. Her boyfriend was the first person who signed up for Return to the Source that year, and she was the last person who signed up for Return to the Source. So like 9 months went by between the two of them, or 6 months. And she came and she was having an amazing time and she was extremely excited. And then she was walking down the beach and she tripped and put her hand in a hole and broke her arm. And she was so upset, you know, like, I wasn't even doing anything, right? She had come here, she'd experienced all of this profound transformation. And then she had a lapse of attention while walking and hurt herself. But, you know, she thought about going home, but she stayed with us. And by the end of the week, she was still doing stuff and she was having an amazing time. And so when we debuted this and we had a beta group go through it, she wanted to do it, even though she had a broken arm. And so she went through this whole program, basically while she was healing from a broken arm. And she found it incredibly transformational. She became stronger and fitter and more capable and healed and became confident and felt safe in her body again. So yeah, so even if you come in with some limitations, there are ways to work around them. And we have, we've really worked hard to make it scalable to all levels. So one of the aspects of this is that we're actually going to be helping you make your body less likely to get injured. There's lots of ways in which this happens. One is just giving yourself whole body movement nutrition. One is learning to break fall. And, you know, this is such a huge thing that people in our culture are facing, is that as you age and you're not fit and you don't have good movement nutrition and your bones aren't getting the movement nutrition that they need, we fall down and we get hurt. So we're going to be helping you map your entire body through a set of joint rotation exercises, helping build that kinesthetic map, helping build that awareness, helping build that tissue quality, and helping you guys get your body used to being on the ground through ground sitting, helping you hang, building these practices sequentially. So it's a really great program as a kind of prehabilitation program as well. Yeah, and then how are we going to get started? You'll experience step-by-step training from day to week to month, and you'll have the support of our whole community. And many of you guys have already got this. You'll have this base program. So you've got that stuff, and you know the next question a lot of people are going to have is, do I have the time? So Albert definitely felt like he didn't have the time. Albert was somebody who'd actually been coaching natural movement for quite a while, and he had trained with me at one of my workshops in London, and this was a few years after that. And he came to it, and now he's become one of the biggest advocates for us, and one of the guys who really helps out and checks in on everyone in the group and makes sure that people are getting the support that they need, and is a mentor through our group. So he says, you know, what he says is, if you're on the fence about the cost, if you can commit, or if you can commit the time, so was I. He's a full-time dad, working weekends, his money's tight, and even more so. It's been tough to get it all in, but he managed, and I feel the best I have in years. My wife and others have said I'm back to the person I used to be, and that was just a couple of weeks in. So we have 150 different video lessons structured into easy bite-sized blocks so we can flexibly put them throughout the week, right? So we have this basic structure of ABC day, but you can break it up into pieces as you need. You know, the different elements of it can be as little as 10 minutes long or 5 minutes long. So you can, you know, kind of keep it, there's a lot of flexibility in how you can apply this. Oh yeah, there we go. ABC day structure and the balance, right? One of the things that we face when we take on a big variety of practices is how do we balance them so that we're making progress across all of them over time. And we've tried to take the guesswork out of that for you guys as much as possible. And then this is a really cool thing. So Andrew, who you guys met at the beginning of the call, he does a lot of work with entrepreneurs. And one of the things that he is really big on is how we become more efficient with the way that we use our time. So a lot of times people are struggling, not because they don't have the time, but because they don't know how to structure their time so that they have enough time. And so we've built in a whole habit formation thing, and we've gotten amazing feedback about this, about like, oh yeah, this helped me with work, this helped me with life, this helped me with all these things. Like, this alone is worth the cost of entry, because how many of us don't need to basically improve our ability to utilize our time well so that we actually have time for the things that we need, and we're not kind of getting lost in between things. There's another one. Where am I going to train? Right. So we have a whole scouting and location building aspect of it. So that's going to be a big bonus, is that we're going to be helping you guys understand where you can train. So we're not just going to teach you the skills. We're going to teach you how to go out and find the trees, how to find all the different types of resources that are going to help you build up. And it starts sequentially with very easy things to find. And as over time, we build that vision to be able to aware of what is out there. So you're going to have this whole replay series to go back to. You're going to have the movement lifestyle program that we have already shared with you guys. You're going to get the time block training. You're going to get our scouting series. So the movement lifestyle program that I mentioned, like building all that up, and the Move Like a Human course that you guys have already got. So what would that all, I'll jump back. Some of you guys may have seen it, but you know, what would you guys expect that to be priced at? That's a good question. You can drop a comment in the thread. Boom. This is what it would cost.
I'll just jump in just a little bit here as well, because this is just the value. It's actually on the next slide. Just the value for all the things that we were talking about up to this point. If you're working one-on-one with Rafe, we're going to deep dive in all of this stuff. There's even more stuff coming up here in just a bit, but we'll probably start getting into you know, some other fun goodies for you. And I also just want to mention while we're here too, for those of you guys who are able to stick around on the call till the end, we also have a special opportunity just for you as well. So I just wanted to add that little bit in, and then we might be going back and forth a little bit here in a bit.
Cool. Yeah. So these prices are based off of what it would cost based on my hourly rate to work with me personally to cover all of this material. So if you were to hire me as your personal coach in person, and we were going to go through each of the skills and each of the different practices, and build up all the pieces that are available through this online academy, that's how many hours we calculate it would take, and then what that would be based off of. And so we've had students who've been working with me for years, and I didn't have the opportunity to do this with them because they couldn't afford the time, and I wasn't really setting myself out to really take on clients to really go this deep with in person. And so they were doing, hour-long or hour and a half long sessions with me once a week for 2 years. And then they came into this program and were blown away by how much it was able to organize the rest of their life around these practices and how much they got out of it. So that is where this is based off of. So do we have any guesses in here? Boom. There we are.
Yeah, so yeah, feel free, like for the program, we'll start getting into pricing here in just a minute, but just what do you think, what is the price would be for where we are, for where we're at right now? Like, what is something that you think would be reasonable to charge for something like this? And, Rafe again is talking about all the time working with him one-on-one. What he didn't share with you is the dozens of people who were working with him one-on-one to go through online stuff. And that's like another story for another day. We won't get into all that now, but yeah, and we organize all this stuff. There's also like ongoing support. This is a membership kind of deal. So we got some numbers coming in here pretty soon.
Comment.
Cool.
It's like remodeling a bathroom, right? How much would you pay to remodel yourself? So
yeah,
fun stuff. Yeah. So shall we go forward here, Andrew?
Yeah, let's go forward, because we actually want to ask a different question. Is what would it be worth to you, even beyond all of the things that we're just talking about right here? And Rafe, you might even do more of this too, is beyond being able to just do cool movements for Instagram, like some people have fallen in the trap of, just rolling around on the floor with your kids, crawling, playing games with them, having that time set aside to experience more meaningful conversations in your life. Like, what does that look like to you? And these are all things that, we've even shared a couple stories before of where people are getting out of this, but I'll shift back to you, Rafe, and
yeah,
keep going.
When people come to our retreats, they always talk about how it's the coherence of the whole experience that makes a transformation that's deeply meaningful for them. And they always tell me that that the retreats, after having done them, the retreats cost less than they should. You should charge more for this. This is one of the most transformational experiences that I have had. And we've built a system that I believe delivers that through an online medium better than anything that has ever existed. I don't think the technology even existed to be able to deliver it like this before we have had now. Like the ability to leverage these calls and get and see all of your faces. It's just so cool. I mean, I'm learning to recognize so many of you guys. I know what your voices sound like. I've seen you guys multiple times. So that's really, really awesome. So, yeah, so, we calculated it to be $2,000, or, we're not going to charge you that. We're not going to charge you $5,000.
And I want to say here as well, because just pointing out some of the chat comments that are coming in, Deb was saying, considering the cost of like remodeling a bathroom of like 10 to 20K, we are remodeling like your movement life. We had another comment in here from, where was it? Richard is like 5,000 annually. That's easily something that's coming up. And again, this is just a recap of everything right here. But of course, we're not going to charge the full, hourly rate. That's just ridiculous, of course. And we're not going to charge like the 10K or 20K for the bathroom remodel, or even the 5,000 that Richard was talking about, or the 1,400 pounds. So I guess that translates to like 1,700 US for Colin. Yeah. So what are we looking at here, Rafe?
let me get out of that and go there. So we're going to charge you guys $97 a month for this. That is, yeah, that is what it costs right now to be part of our program. And if you buy annually, you get a big bonus, and it will be just $997 for the year. And you'll get all of the Embodied Movement Summit for those of you guys who are not part of that already. So you get 2 free months basically when you buy the year. And so why? Fundamentally, we just really want to build this community, right? We could charge more for this, right? If you look at the comments, right, people are seeing the value, and it's been amazing to do that. And you know, we've worked with people in person, you know, one-on-one, but really transformation comes from community. It's you can have the most brilliant idea in the world, and it's never going to be realized in only one person's mind. It's when we come together as a community, and we've run the numbers, and this is a reasonable business model for us. It will put us in a position where we can keep growing and keep paying our staff and keep doing all the things that we need, while we believe that will actually be attainable for the students who we want to work with. And we'll be able to bring you guys in and create the community that we want, because it's in community that transformation is really realized. So,
and I want to shout out a couple of the comments that are coming in here as well. Colin is like, blimey, we're stunned. Deb is saying, you know, it's such a great price, thinking about the cost of like a Beachbody Shakeology for $116 a month, plus the $12 for the online workouts. So yeah, and then I lost the name, but somebody with the comments are going, but someone is saying, yeah, it's even less than just a gym membership. Richard, here we go. Was saying that. And so yeah, we got some great stuff. I also want to chime in too with the annual bonus. Then you know, you're also getting, you know, it is the 2 months free. It is the full IMP 6-week course that you're also getting gifted to you, and as well as the Embodied Movement Summit. If you are an Embodied Movement Summit, somebody who already has access, then we have a special deal for you as well. So you can just email us later, or send me or Justine a message, and we'll get into that here in just a bit.
Yeah, the Embodied Movement Summit, for those of you who are not familiar, was an event that we had 28 speakers on, who talked about this theme of how do we create more meaningful movement practices that are more sustainable throughout life. We have an incredible group of speakers, and the response to that has been absolutely amazing. So if you're not in on that, you're gonna get a lot out of that too. So we believe in this program, right? And we believe that it's going to be transformational for you, and we want you to be engaged. Like, the whole fitness industry is based on selling people a product that they're not going to use, right? That's the sad truth of it, is that people that you sell a membership to a gym, and then you know it's not going to be successful for most people, and you just keep collecting their dues because they won't cancel because they're ashamed of the fact that they're not using it. We don't want that, right? We want you guys to be part of this. We want to be doing this, and we want to have lots of people who are sharing the experience with us. We want to be able to talk about it. We want to be able to see it. We want to be able to go on this app and watch all of your movement. So if it's not right for you, then we don't, then that's cool. And we want to make sure that you're able to walk away from it. And if you have questions and you're not sure, we want to get on a call with you and make sure that it works for you, because obviously we really believe in it. We know that, nothing is for everybody. So we want to make sure that those bodies who it's not for aren't the ones who are in, because we want the ones who are in to be part of it. And when they are part of it, that's where the transformation is really going to happen. So you can see what we're all about. If you have to cancel, we're still friends, right? I've had lots of students who've spent time with me and then spent time with other teachers, and we're happy with that, right? A journey between a student and a teacher is always there's always a journey until there's a time to separate, and knowing that there's potentially going to be a time to separate is part of my ethics as a coach, right? And because I think that so many coaches are afraid because their lifestyle is based on that. And what they do is they teach dependency in their students. And that's the last thing we want, because the goal of the coach is to empower the student on their journey. So it's really, really important to us that you know that you're going to be part of our community and part of the people we can consider friends, even if you want to go train with another coach for a while, or something happens in your life and you have to cancel your membership, right? You know, we're still going to be excited if we see you climbing a tree. We're still going to drop a comment on Instagram if we see it, right? So that's a big part of our ethics. And, you know, if you're in Seattle or you're in the area where one of our coaches is and you want to drop us a line and have a coffee, you know, we're going to try to do that with you guys. We're excited about the people who are on these calls. You know, I see so many people, so many faces in here that I feel like I've gotten to know a little bit through these process. And I'm excited to know you guys better. And I really believe that what we talk about, it's community, right? We're creating a business, and that business has to be about a community first, right? Ultimately, relational wealth is the greatest wealth. That's my attitude. So, but we have bonuses for you guys. If you commit before the end of this call, you're going to get a call. You're going to get a chance to jump on a call with us to help answer any questions you have. So one of our coaches will take 20 minutes to break down any issues you have, right? We will take a look at your videos, and we will really help you get started on this journey. So Andrew has dropped the link. Tell me you dropped the link, Andrew, to purchase.
I did drop the link into the chat for the people who are really excited. A couple of people are messaging me about some of the special rates if you were in the summit or you were a part of the Intro to Natural Parkour course. And so just to keep pace with everything, I probably should have said, maybe message Justine. She's going to be going through some stuff. I sent her the link as well. And then Justine, you can let me know if you have any questions. We did also just made a last minute change on this so we can better track who are the people who are purchasing before the end of the call. So if you are somebody who is like, yes, 100% this is for me and I want to lock in my bonus to get on a quick call or have a breakdown on my movement, then you can go ahead and check out. And I just want to make sure that it's working. At least click the link to make sure you're going to the right place. And you know, I don't want anybody to run into any issues as we're going through this. So yeah, that is there. And we also have some more fun bonuses coming out as well. And we are doing a giveaway again for this academy here in just a few minutes. We are running a little bit behind, so thank you guys for sticking around. Justine's contact, she is Justine EMP Tech is the name of her thing here in the Zoom chat. And so you can message her there, or if you're watching from Facebook or somewhere else on the website, then you can also just email support@evolvemoveplay.com. And if that does come in, like if you're messaging us right now, like while this is happening, it's 4:15 Central Time. We'll make a note of that. Like, okay, you contacted us and you were asking, and we're just logistic stuff. So don't worry about that.
So if you can't process it fast enough on call, that's awesome. Thank you guys. We love your support, and you're not gonna get punished for that, right? If you register that you want to sign up, you're gonna get the rate. You're gonna get the bonuses. You're gonna get everything.
Yeah.
So.
And just to clarify too, I did post that checkout link into the chat for those who are really excited about it. And then Justine will have special pricing available for if you have purchased the summit, if you have purchased the previous INP course or you're part of the membership, we'll have a special rate for you guys. And then we're also doing, this is all new, by the way, that we're offering these kind of discounts. We haven't done anything like this. But then also first responders, military, if you are an enrolled student, just send off, we'll need to verify, send over a credential that's like, here's my enrollment list for the year or whatever. just email that over and we'll get all that straightened out.
For those, do you know, Andrew?
Yeah, so it is we're doing a 10% discount for pretty much everybody who is getting the discount, and then we have something.
So we got first responders, law enforcement, military, and students are all getting a 10% discount. So if you register and you pay right now and you end up paying the full rate, we're obviously going to refund that and make sure that you're taken care of. So don't be anxious about that. Just know that we're making sure that that's gonna be done right.
Yeah, and if you do have to go, again, this is a bonus that is available while you're on the call. So just email support@evolvemoveplay.com. That way we are able to connect your email with what it is. But really, the best way is to just, it takes like 2 seconds to go there and process. I can even show you in a little bit. But anyway, I'm even getting ahead of myself too, because we didn't even get into some of the other bonuses that we have for you guys, as well as we still have our giveaway of who's getting access to this.
So shall I move forward here quickly?
Yeah. We'll just keep pacing. We'll go through a bit quicker, and then we'll take in more questions at the end, and then maybe we'll fill in some of those gaps.
If you had to jump off and didn't have a chance to tell us that you wanted to register, if you're catching the replay, we've also got more bonuses. So we're going to do a special workshop on how to build your practice with me. So that's going to be a great bonus, as we'll just sit down and take a look at your programming and at the courses, and we'll be walking those through and helping all the students get themselves set up if they sign up within the next 24 hours.
Okay. And that call is going to be on Tuesday as well. So we only have a limited window here. So yeah, you'll want to get in quick.
Awesome. So then one issue that some of you guys might have is lockdowns in the pandemic. So one thing we want to be clear about is outdoor training is very safe, relatively. You may be limited, but we also have special resources for you guys so you can train at home. We have this whole bonus location scouting at home, how to use your house to train. So Kyle Koch is one of our long-term coaches and students. Filmed this beautiful, really wonderful video about how he utilizes the stuff in his immediate environment. I actually have a funny story about this. So I've been working really hard, as I've shared with you guys, on this launch and then also on the embodiment conference. So I'm basically working 2 full-time jobs right now, which has interrupted my normal training schedule. I have not trained this little in a long time. So a couple days ago, I was really anxious to get some movement in, and I created a course around my house. And I've actually not done that. I've built lots of courses for my kids, but I have some beautiful natural environments that I just like to drive to and really be able to kind of embed myself in. But I only had 20 minutes, and I was able to find, I have a vault table I have for my kids and stuff, but I was climbing up on top of my roof. I was doing this really cool pullover down off of my roof. I was vaulting over my fence. I was climbing through a tree. So I hadn't done this before myself, but there are resources for you guys, and we are going to work as hard as we can to make sure that you have access to being able to try these movements, because we believe in the transformational power, and we don't want you to be limited by what's going on in the world right now. The Embodied Movement Summit. We mentioned this. Yeah, we had. You can take a look at some of the speakers there. We've got Simon Thacker, who's my buddy. We've got Paul Check. We've got Kelly Starrett. We've got Ryan Hurst. We've got Yuri Marmerstein. We've got Josef Frusek, Chandler Stevens, Marlo Fiskin, Juliette Starrett, Brandy Laird, Sebastian Foucan, one of the founders of Parkour, Laurent Bimontesi as well, one of the founders of Parkour. It's a mix of movement stuff and lecture stuff. So that's going to be an awesome resource for you guys if you hadn't had a chance to look at that already. So then, if you aren't afraid to travel and you really want to join us, but the finances have taken a hit, as you know, we have a lottery for the retreat. So on Monday, we're going to reveal somebody who is going to get a free access to one of our retreats.
I think it's on Sunday actually is when
Sunday,
we have that
the
scheduled. Yeah.
27th. Sorry.
And that is also the last day that all this will be available. It is only for pretty much this weekend only. We're only open up a couple times a year, and we want to get in and serve our community and help you guys take your practice to the next level. So yeah, we are doing, anybody who purchases the Academy gets their entry into the retreat. And of course, we're looking at your engagement stuff as well to see if you would be a good fit. Put your name in a hat, and then we'll, pop out the winner on Sunday.
Yeah. So we don't love selling. We do love communicating with you guys. We love these calls. I mean, it's been amazing to just share all these ideas and see everyone and see the engagement. But really where we want to be is with the students, working on building resources for you guys, working on communicating with you, working on doing all these things. And so, so that means that we only are going to offer this opportunity to actually get in, a couple times a year. So this weekend is the time to do it. The next opportunity is going to be in the spring. So that is why. There it is. So yeah, here's the breakdown. This is what you can, this is what it would cost to get this if you wanted to work with me personally. Here's what it costs to do right now. I think it's a no-brainer. What I would recommend, yeah. Like I said, it's important for me ethically to recognize that there are always people for whom this might not be the right offer. But I really think that's a pretty limited group of people, especially if you're on this call and you've been working with us. I think it's incredibly well aligned with helping people. I don't think there's a lot of other things that are going to give you the same set of benefits. And also it's kind of it's a time when building a practice that takes you outdoors and building a practice that's built around online community is particularly, it's particularly valuable because you might not have access to a gym that you had access to in the past. And you might not have as much access to community that you find through in-person stuff. And obviously we want to bring that stuff back, and we don't think these things are mutually exclusive, right? We'll highly recommend and even help you guys find a parkour gym or a movement gym that's near you. And you can do that in addition to the stuff that we're doing. But having run a gym and having taught outdoor classes and having done personal training with people, I know that it's hard to cover all these things, right? Like, are you going to take time out of your 60 minutes with somebody to teach them mindfulness when they come there for movement? All right. Are you going to teach them lifestyle habits? Are they going to be ready for that? Or are they going to be ready to sweat? And so what we can create is something so much more holistic here. And we already are, right? The dialogue and the conversations we've had on this call and in these calls is just incredible to me. And it's amazing what's coming together. So yeah, I recommend joining us if you can, if you are at all capable of it or don't think you're capable of it, but might be, or intimidated. Ask us a question, jump on a call with us, and see what taking the next step looks like for you. Feels like I'm trying to get you to enroll. Well, yeah, of course I am. I know the transformation that this has happened. I know the person who I've become through doing these things. I know the transformations that have happened with my students. I know the transformations that have happened through these online courses. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited to share and to see you guys. Like, I want to see your faces in these calls and know that you've been doing these programs, right? Like Shannon, Jeremy, Bear, Sarah, Carmen, you guys are the faces that I'm seeing right now. Some of you guys' faces I've seen repeatedly throughout these series of calls, and maybe and I've seen other faces here and in the Embodied Movement Summit. And the idea of being able to see you guys again in a month and answer your questions about, mindfulness practices that you've been putting work into, and answer questions about trees that you've actually been climbing, and to see your videos. That's just so rad. I don't know. I'm kind of overwhelmed. Like, it really makes me happy to think about that and to think about what can be created through this. So yeah, that is our presentation. As usual, it took me longer to get through it, but it's because I really want to share. I want to make sure that that we're sharing good information with you at every level, and that it's always coming from the heart. It's always about helping you meet your needs to grow as human beings. And that's why it took me a little bit longer. But if you guys have questions, I'm ready to answer them. And if you're ready to sign up, Justine is ready to get you signed up, or Andrew, or just click that link. Andrew, anything I missed on the what the next steps are for them?
Yeah. So I think what we'll do is maybe we'll just jump straight into the winner.
Yeah.
And then we'll start doing a couple more questions. And but I do want to hit these few just real quick. People who were talking about the like if money was an issue, again, if you are somebody who's already has an existing relationship with us, or you're a first responder, then we do have those discounts available for you. The full price, just to remind everyone, is $997 annual, or just the $97 a month monthly. And again, it's an incredible value that we're able to offer for you guys. But we also could go a little deeper on the this is also completely risk-free. If it doesn't work out for you at any time, we got 30-day guarantee, so you can go in, experience it for yourself, and then you can be the judge to decide, is this actually a good value or not? You don't have to take our word for it. You go, you experience it for yourself, try it out, ask us any questions along the way that you feel like maybe are unclear, and we want to be there to support you guys. And then of course, it's a monthly thing, but you're not locked in. You just, cancel anytime. We're still friends. We were talking about that. So, so yeah, those are a couple things that I did want to talk about. We have some other questions that are coming in as well, which we're setting aside. And I also want to give a shout out to Deborah, who has already joined the community. Thank you, Deborah. We look forward to seeing you year round. And yeah, we'll also be having the call on Tuesday just to kind of welcome everybody in, make sure you're getting all the stuff situated. It will take us just a little bit to process everybody. We want to make sure that you're getting access to all the bonuses, and everything's going to be working out real smooth. So Deborah, so excited to be a part of the community. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. So thank you so much. All right, so we have our winner. So let me pull open where that is. All right, here we go. Now to qualify for this, of course, we wanted to see you getting engaged, sticking around with us the whole time, asking questions, posting your videos, and then of course being here live to be able to receive it. And so Joanne, if I'm saying your name right, Joanne Robert, if you are available, you're hearing me, I see that you're on the call, you're currently muted, you are our winner. So we love seeing some of the posts you had coming in here, doing the challenges in the Move Like a Human course. So
thank you so much.
Here we are, we got you in.
Yeah. I'm so glad to be part of this community.
Thank you, Joanne. Yeah. How do we pronounce your name?
Joanie Robert.
Joanie.
Oh, I ruined that. I'm sorry. Okay.
Didn't realize you were from France.
My English sucks too, so it's not a problem.
I'm sure it's better than my
English
French.
is exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. So awesome. What are you looking forward to most being a part in the inside the academy? Maybe something stood out to you, movement, mindfulness, the nature connection, something community related, maybe just getting unstuck from where you've been. What's something that's speaking to you from what we've been talking about?
The community. I think the community is the most important for me. So yes, I think it's what talked to me. And movement, because I think I'm very far away from that. So all is new, and I just very curious. I just want to try it. So yeah.
Excellent.
I need to discover everything, so it's great.
Well, welcome. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, we got Deborah, we got Gourney. Yeah, excited to see so many people. So let's see.
Yeah, so now we'll start jumping back into some of the questions, and then Rafe, if you want to just as a reminder, it's a bit, we got a lot of stuff on the slide, but if you want to just have it up there for the people, just to remind them what they do get when they're on the inside. And then Justine, if you want to drop that link in the chat again, just so people have it nice and handy, then we'll start going through some of the questions.
So which slide do you want up, bud?
Yeah, this one would be fine.
Okay.
So it is a lot there, but this is all the stuff we got going on. So questions. We got let me pull open my notes for the questions. Here we go. Okay, so Bear was asking earlier if there's a community aspect inside the EMP community in terms of communicating with others inside the course. And yes, that is absolutely something that we have in here. And I actually think I can show you. Do you guys want to see inside what this is looking like? Inside Circle, it's our new interface here. So, oh yeah, so I told you to screen share, Rafe, and now I'm going to steal it back from you. So, so
okay.
here's just an example. We're putting the finishing touches on it. You guys seeing this all right? So we got tons of ways for you guys to engage. You can just, you know, get started right away. You can ask questions. You can message other members, get feedback on your movement. You just post in there, and you know, we're gonna be able to run back, respond with you, sharing your wins, time management, everything like that. Full programs for you to just pick up and implement right away. And then we broke down our mini courses into evolve, move, and play. And so we got aspects of developing your heroic self, the movement lifestyle, and all of the base locomotion programs. And so it's all, like, just as an example, we got move like a human right in here. You can just pop right in. You got your video, you got your you know, a little description, what do you need to do, and then if you want to go back and forth, you can. And then we're also opening up a more collaborative community experience, so just like a Facebook group, without all the other distractions. Just you can get in your element and you just kind of hang out, we'll chat. If we're like, you know what, there's something that maybe this is a little unclear, we'll polish it up. If you're like, you know what, this would be a big benefit,
there was no break.
We're gonna make that available to you guys so that it is completely accessible, because we're in this community together and we want to just continue to support you guys and continue on our journey together. So yeah.
So Leonie asks how long you can get in for $97. So this sales period is over on Sunday at midnight Pacific time, and we will open this up for sales again in the spring, but it may not be at this price point again.
Yeah, as we continue to grow as a community, we're going to be adding more things. We're going to be simplifying the processes and just making everything more accessible. And of course that takes time, but if you get in whatever rate you get in at, that will lock you in at that rate. And so any price changes that do happen in the future, you don't have to worry about that as a member inside the Academy. You just, you know, you're grandfathered in. We want to take care of our people, which is why we also like to offer the support and some of those price discounts for people. Now, again, if you do check out before the end of this call, you are going to be also getting the additional bonus of just jump on a get started call where we'll talk through any particular situations that you're going through. Maybe you want us to review one of your movements that you've been struggling with for a while. We got an awesome team of coaches here that we're happy to take a look at all that. But that is only available for the people who are checking out while we are still live on the call. And then over the next 24 hours, we do have those other 2 bonuses available. But again, that's only within this next day, basically. And so yeah. What else? What other questions do we have over here, Ray, for Justine? I know Justine, you're processing all of the support as well. So.
So Sarah says it's the accountability that's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good. Sometimes fear is something we need to overcome, right? And accountability is the most powerful thing for transformation. So sometimes the fear is a signal that you're excited, right? There's very little difference actually between fear and excitement physiologically. Now, sometimes you're afraid because you need to be afraid, and we need to trust fear. And that's actually a lot of what we learn through a practice like parkour is when fear is the thing that you trust and when it's the thing that's limiting you and forcing you to step away from things that can really benefit you. But when you have that sense of your heart beating rapidly, of your butterflies, right, of your chest, of a little tension, a little tingliness, that can actually be a signal that something is really rich for you. So something worth thinking about. So I mentioned that we're going to do some calls for anyone who has some questions. Is there a scheduling for that, Andrew?
Yeah, so the best time to do that is any questions that you have right now, then we'll start running through all of those live. If you're talking about scheduling related to that bonus that we were talking about, if you check out before the end of the call, then after we're processing everything, we're going to send out a link, and then you can just book a time on the calendar, and then we'll be able to get that one-on-one time with you to work through all the details. And so you can just lock that bonus in by just heading over to the page and checking out. And if you were also just wondering about, like, you feel like that you have like a very particular concern for you in your situation and you're not sure if it's the right fit, then tomorrow we're going to start opening up the calendar, and we can even take some other calls there as well. So we'll be making that link available probably tomorrow. But if you're talking about the bonus call, then that's something that you'll want to jump on, just lock it in, and we'll kind of go from there.
So let's see. Deb W says, Pima Chowdhury says, fear is a natural reaction to moving closer to the truth. And that's a really interesting quote. So that's a beautiful one.
Debbie was asking Rafe if time zone would be a challenge as far as everything being self-paced or anything about that for the program.
No, it's all self-paced and the resources are available all the time. The only issue is potentially with setting up the monthly calls. We work on making sure those are available because we have students literally all over the world. So we try to find a time that splits the difference between Australia, Europe, and the United States. But if we end up with lots of students in different time zones that require us to do multiple calls, then that's also something that we can look at as having a couple different slots available for people.
Yeah, we've been actually looking at that even since the summit. What are the best times that we can get the most people on the call? And having multiple calls was one of those things that we're looking at. So yeah, just when you're in, then you can help craft what that next iteration of the conversation looks like to make sure that we can hear your voice. So as far as, let's see, Debbie was asking about time zones related to the bonuses and closing time. So that is all Pacific time. And so it is, 24 hours after Pacific time. So we're just going to simplify that, and we're going to say it's not actually 24, it's a little bit longer. It'll be Friday night at midnight when those 24-hour bonuses expire. And that's the first window. where you can get in, and then the entire Academy offer will disappear this Sunday at midnight Pacific time. So that is how we're looking at that over here. So be sure to plan accordingly if that is a concern for you. Nikki was asking about what would be new or different in the Academy as compared to the IMP course or the membership. So Rafe, why don't you talk a little bit about what that looks like for our students? And then of course, again, if you were one of those students, we do have special pricing available for you. And because we want to definitely take care of you, so you can just message Justine for that special link. But Rafe, why don't you talk a little bit about what's upgraded?
Hi, Nikki. It's good to hear from you. Basically, we have broken up all the pieces so they're more consumable. We've added a new program to help you template out and see kind of the pathway that you're going through, and added to the pieces around aliveness. So those are all new pieces that we have, plus all of the instructional pieces that we had before, but now in a more flexible format. And then there's these new aspects of how we're running the community to keep people engaged. So we're going to have the monthly calls. We're going to have weekly mentor calls. We're going to have, the executive notes and the action guides and the mentor guides based off of the podcasts that are coming up. And we'll be doing podcasts basically weekly going forward once we're into the Academy. So we're going to be getting all of those as well. And then we will be building a minimum of one new mini course that's going to be built on a specific skill per quarter. So we're going to have programs coming up on swinging and how to do swinging. That'll be coming up, sometime soon. We're going to have a strength-based program to help you support your locomotive practice and your practice of moving in nature. We're going to have new extensions of the programs that we currently have as far as vaults and ground flow and all those pieces. We're going to have a games and manipulations piece. We're going to have a roughhousing piece, and we're going to be slowly building up those aspects of the practice as well through the online course. So we're going to be getting regular new content through the Academy, in addition to the stuff that already exists. And we're going to have those discussions and those things, as well as the new materials that are there. So that is the package of what this is in relationship to the previous membership or the online course. Did I miss anything, Andrea?
I think you hit the main bit. So basically, the course was, you have to. I mean, we made it flexible, but it was still like, this is the 6-week format that you have to go through. In this new iteration, we're making more channels accessible for you to make this practice your own. If you want to focus on individual skill trees, if you want to grow with the Evolve, Move, Play community into the whole food movement lifestyle pyramid that we've been talking about during the series. And so it's a way to really get into all those nuances. And then of course the weekly calls or the monthly calls, we're going to be able to support you guys as well. I did actually forget to mention, because we were running through this quick, we even have another bonus as well. It just completely, I was telling Justine when we were putting some of the resources together, it's like, I feel like I'm going to forget this. But we are doing more additional calls with you guys in the beginning because we want to be there to support you and continue on that momentum as well. And so we don't have the times locked in for these yet, but we are going to have, I think it was 6 calls that, while you're in, we'll just jump on a group calls just to bring the community together to keep that accountability moving forward, to make sure that you really do feel absolutely comfortable with making this practice your own and kind of taking your movement lifestyle to the next level. I want to do a shout out as well. Rafe, I don't know if you have Slack open, but that's where I'm seeing some of these to welcome in Michael Mast, who's now inside the community. We also have Nancy joining in at the annual rate as well. So welcome Nancy and Michael. into the community. And a bunch of other people here saying too, like they're super interested and they're just running tight on between meetings. And so we did run over a little bit. We apologize. But happy to stay on the call for anybody else who has questions, and we'll just kind of keep running through. If we missed a question or you feel like it wasn't quite answered, drop that in again just in case, because we are seeing a lot of chatter in there. We want to make sure that we're responding to everybody.
So Michelle asks for Justine's email to, I imagine, register and do that. So Justine, can you just drop that? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Support.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Tanya says, you know, she's still getting used to jumping on and off a curb, walking on logs, and getting around in a playground. So what else is this? Well, one thing that happens, when we offer the Move Like Human program, is for a lot of people, that's a great place to start, and that's enough for them physically, and that's awesome. Like, keep doing that. But what we're not getting there is the full community and the mindfulness and all the movement lifestyle pieces that we're going to be building in for you and building up your physical practice and the podcast and executive notes. So there's an immense amount more that is part of coming into the community. So even if you're working still through the Move Like a Human material, because that's where you're at physically and what's going to be rich and good for you, like, no problem with that. But you'll have all those other programs ready for you, plus all of this other support around the rest of the ecology of practices.
We have Tanya asking, we got two questions from her. One of them is if the membership can be put on hold. And so, just talk with us about your situation, and we want to be able to support you guys because we do only open up for limited windows. You can check out process, like lock in your bonuses, and then if you have a particular situation, then we'll just basically delay access if you're in that situation until everything comes through, or you get your first month, and we'll just pause access inside. We'll work it out. Don't worry about it. We want to take care of you. And then Rafe, this question's for you from Tanya about like she's still just a bit nervous, it sounds like, and is getting used to the idea of jumping on and off the curb, walking on logs.
That question.
Oh, yeah, sorry. You did just do that one. Yeah, cool.
So Debbie says the community and personal guidance is the main reason I signed up. For me, this is critical to sustainable change. Thank you, Deb. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's huge. And I'm so excited to do it. I mean, I think back to when I started parkour and how desperate we were for like the ability to communicate with the French founders who didn't speak English, weren't regularly on the internet, and were all in their early 20s basically and didn't know really how to be mentors to people. I think how cool it would have been to have access. Like, what would I have been willing to pay to be able to talk to David, once a month and get direct guidance and know what the real philosophy was and be able to ask my questions and be able to figure that out. I definitely would have been happy to pay what it costs to go to a gym for a month. So it's amazing to me that we have this opportunity. Like, we didn't have video calls, right? People couldn't have support the way it is. There was no Circle app. There was no way to organize this information the way that we have now. There was no way to get it all recorded and put up on an online course platform that made it really simple and easy, and that you could go on your mobile. They didn't even have mobiles, right? Like, there's no smartphones. You guys are blessed. Back in my day.
Yeah, the level of accessibility that we have now is it's just amazing. It blows me away all the time, and we're even like taking steps to even try to make it more accessible. Circle has been, we joined with them early on. They're a fairly new company, but I'm a big fan of the work that they're doing. Getting out of the Facebook world, among other big benefits that I'm just kind of friends with them. And so
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for finding Circle.
Yes.
I'm so happy about the idea of us moving our community away from Facebook.
Yeah, private community. The less I have to log
into that website, the better.
Yeah, we don't have to log in there anymore, unless you do want to use your Facebook login to get in. That can happen. But we'll be processing all of those tech things here in a little bit. Somebody asked a question about that. We'll process all the stuff technically, and we'll make sure everybody can get in here in a bit. But they are coming out with an app actually, and so we'll share more details about that as it unfolds. But then you can just have it right on your phone when you go outside in nature, and just play the video, or you can go on the website too. It's all mobile friendly, as you were just already talking about.
Yeah, one thing you might not want to be looking at the mobile web app as well. And so one thing that we have is also sheets where you can print off a structure for a training session and have a paper version of it that you can refer to, so you don't have to constantly open up things. So you can watch the video, watch the breakdowns, figure out all the skills outside of your training time, and then your training time can be you alone in nature with your phone turned on airplane mode and a little piece of paper to guide you through. So that's an important thing. Bear says, based on your authenticity, depth, ethics, and clear commitment, I'm in. I both want to support what you're doing and also experience it for myself. So thank you, Bear. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it can be a brutal industry being like this, and it's really important to be able to do this. And it's because of the people who show up on these calls and in this community that we're able to kind of stay with what we are. So thank you guys so much for doing that. And I don't know if you already got signed up, Bear, or if you need to email someone, but we're really excited to have you in the community.
I can verify that Bear is on the inside. We are super excited to have him in here. And I know his chat's been coming in through this week too, so that's really cool to see you here and joining the community.
Becoming Bear on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. You've been thoughting out some great stuff. Was that you who put up the amazing oak tree? Yeah. Oh, dude. I got to come visit that oak tree someday.
We also want to welcome Damon into the community as well at the annual level, and he's got the summit here as well. So awesome that you're really getting involved in the whole world. So we love having you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Assemble. Earlier, Rafe. It is Avengers Assemble.
I was getting Captain Planet mixed up with Avengers.
Oh,
our powers combined.
Captain Planet, that's an adventure.
I'm old. I don't have any any pop culture references that post-date the 90s.
Oh. Yeah, well, the Avengers is huge. I was sorry to hear about Black Panther, but here, the story that he is sharing behind it, just like making that next step forward to being in cancer the whole time during all of pretty much since Civil War all the way through to the last thing being filmed, and they definitely want to do something to keep that message going strong. So we want to support that. Anyway, I'm getting distracted here.
That's really great. Lots of places without cell service in New Mexico. It's true. Sometimes the places that you really want to train, not so easy to get it. Right now, so one of my next projects is I'm kind of the guy who brought moving in trees really into the world of awareness for people in parkour. David and Sebastian and all were doing that way back in the day, but it kind of got lost, and then I really pushed it. So for a long time, people would kind of ping me when they were in trees, like, "Hey, look, I did a Rafe Kelly." So that was really cool. I got to be the sort of the tree runner. But my next big thing is canyons. So there's this whole area of canyoneering where people rappel into canyons. Now, canyoneers are kind of just into the rappelling through the waterfalls, which is fun. But then you get access to these incredible, beautiful spots. So some of you guys may have seen on Instagram recently. I have this spot that I found that has these amazing water slides and giant jumps on this incredible canyon. But yeah, definitely no cell service there. So I want to help you guys all start finding those places deeper in nature, more relationship with nature, more opportunities, new places. We're bringing it out.
Well, we had another question in here about when everything gets started, and so the place to get started again. We're going to jump on the live call on Tuesday just to kind of welcome everybody in, make sure that everything's sorted out, and then we'll also start offering that bonus on basically how to get started with your journey. So that's when, if you're in that bonus, then that is happening on Tuesday. It is go at your own pace, but we do have some tracks available. And one of the ways to do that is with this new Whole Food Movement pyramid and skill standards in the Start Here course. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Rafe?
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to, I saw a comment from Momo, and I wanted to respond because I know it's past midnight over there. So yeah, she said, "Thank you, Rafe, and all involved. This is such a wonderful experience to share with everyone. Her situation is a little particular, so she's not sure if she can come into the academy, but she's gonna really try to digest it and try and apply." It's midnight again, but finding it hard to leave. Well, thank you, Momo. I just wanted to acknowledge that it's been really wonderful having you on the calls, and you've sent me some really wonderful emails sharing stories about your response to things. So I love having you as part of the community. I really hope that you can make it into the academy this round, and I know if not this round, we'll see you another time. But definitely, if you're on the fence, know that you can jump on one of those one-on-one calls this weekend, and we'd love to just talk to you and see what we can do to get you in, because I just know that you're a person who's going to be a really wonderful part of our community, and I look forward to starting that sooner rather than later if possible. But if you need to go to bed, we'll let you go, and we'll look forward to touching base with you soon.
Cool. Yeah, I love seeing all Momo stuff coming in here. So yeah, hope to see you on the inside. Thanks so much. We also want to welcome Shannon into the community as well, another annual member. So thank you, Shannon, for joining us. Yeah, Justine's doing the little happy dance over there, so we love seeing those.
Oh yay! Shannon, come on.
So we had a question come in here. I think we actually have just a bunch that just dropped right in. So Rafe, why don't you answer Victoria's question about being 58, loving movement, and has been physical all of her life, but having stalled out, and is wondering if it's too late for her to get started or involved in parkour.
Definitely not. Absolutely. Steve Wheel is one of our longest term students here with us in Seattle. And he started with us, I think, when he was 55 or 56. I believe he's 59 this year. And he came to Return to the Source for the last 2 years now, and has been doing amazing things and getting stronger and jumping farther. And you know, the strength that I see people starting to build really late in life is amazing. And people just don't realize how much it is a use it or, you know, lose it thing. So we've had students, the oldest students we've had at events were 73 years old. And I told the story of Joran Bodic, who came to our event in Sweden, who had spent his whole life working on a solo fishing vessel that he ran himself. He had a sailboat that he fished off of, and he fell out of a tree, landed on his back, and popped up and continued the workshop. And I was like, that's what I want to be like when I'm 70, right? And that's like, you might think to yourself, if I had started this at 20, who might I be? Or you could think to yourself, who might I be when I'm 70 if I start today? There's another guy, Bo Kendall, you can check out in the parkour community, who started in his mid 40s, who's achieved an extraordinary level of skill. He's doing very large jumps. There's Stephen Jepson and all his work on how the brain actually changes and is so nourished by doing these things as we age. Katie Bowman's book, Dynamic Aging. Also, check out the 72-year-old skater. Sorry, I have a lot to say about this, but I'm so passionate about this, man. I want my mom to do it. I haven't quite convinced her. She does walk and have a really great natural movement lifestyle. Actually, Ida Portal's mother, who's 64, is doing this, and she's getting stronger, and she's getting pull-ups. Not our program, but she's doing their type of movement training. So All ages, absolutely. It's never too late. There's always more movement that your body can do, and it will make you younger, right? There is the age of the calendar, and some of that is unavoidable. It's like you're not going to train in such a way that you don't get gray hair and wrinkles. But a lot of the lack of coordination, lack of physical power, lack of endurance, lack of changes in body composition, a lot of that stuff, it has to do with lack of activity. It's prolonged lack of activity. So please join us. That's what I'm saying. Don't let age be a barrier. Eloy May says, I'm getting started in natural movement at 71. Yeah. Drop the mic, Eloy. That's the way we want to see it. I'm excited. We are. I'm looking forward to those videos, man. You got to show some videos. People need it. Older people. I get messages from 19-year-olds asking if they're too old to start training parkour. I started when I was 23, right? I have lots of students of all ages. We need this. That's one. I talked a little bit about some of the problems I have with professional sports as far as the way that they impact children and teach them not to move. But the other thing is, I think they're manipulating our idea of what aging looks like. In addition to all of the nasty things about sedentism, right? NFL running backs burn out at 30 because they're asked to do something that's completely physically unnatural over and over and over again, and to not give themselves the movement nourishment that they need. And then we think 30 is the end of your potential to be an athlete. 30 is 8 years in the back mirror for me, right? And I'm doing more stuff. Like, I was watching videos of myself from this spring, and I was like, wow, that was the best that I've ever been, was this spring. So yeah. Here's a really cool thing about Stephen Jepson's research. You don't even need to accomplish a skill for it to change your brain and to keep you younger, right? If you want to fight off Alzheimer's and dementia and you start practicing juggling, even if you never pick up the 3-ball cascade, you've still nourished your brain. You've still nourished. It's like you don't get so old that you don't need food, right? Why would you get so old that you don't need whole food and movement? Your brain needs it. Your body needs it. It will have a positive impact on you. So you might not ever drop from one building to another or do a front flip. Like, there's so much more to this. There's so much more. Bear asked, how old am I? I just said I'm 38 years old. Yeah. And I've been doing this for 15 years, and I am still steadily getting better, which is amazing. And actually, that's another aspect of why I think natural movement and an ecology of practices is so important. One of the problems we have is we have a model of physical culture that is based on overtraining specific modalities, and it burns people out and wears them down. If you want to be a great athlete later in life, just running long distances is going to burn you out. Just doing CrossFit is going to burn you out. Just doing jiu-jitsu is going to burn you out, right? When we can balance ourselves and nourish ourselves across all these things, we can sustain it. If you look at a lot of these great guys, like recently I've been talking to Danny Way, who's a 5-time X Games champion and 10-time Guinness Book of World Record holder in skateboarding. And, part of his secret is, he does Paul Chek style holistic strength training, but he also surfs, he also snowboards, he also bikes, he also does all this movement stuff, right? And you see a lot of those great flow sport athletes who are really breaking barriers. Laird Hamilton is 56 and he's still surfing some of the biggest waves anybody is surfing in the world. They all play in lots of other sports, right? And what we see with baseball, basketball, football is the structure of the profession burns people out. You can't sustain it over a long time. But when people have the opportunity to form a practice that serves them, you see guys like Chris Sharma, guys like Danny Way, guys like Laird Hamilton, they step away from one primary practice for a while and go play another way. And then they break a new barrier and then they come back and then they're still They're still on the edge. And this is my professional ambition, right? I'm like, at 45, I'm gonna be introducing something new. I'm gonna be bringing something new to the table. So that was quite the rant. I'm excited about this. Like, let's change this dialogue about aging, man. Let's change it.
You had some good quotes in there, Rafe, that we'll need to go back in and maybe integrate those into the presentation about. So yeah, we definitely got to pull those out.
So this is cool. We have a whole group of technology joining us because iPad, which I didn't realize was 6 years old, is starting, even though they're, yeah. So I don't know who signed in with the iPad thing, but we're really excited to have you joining us, and that's awesome. And yeah, Andrew Bradbury, also 6 years old. Victoria says she's in. Yay! Thank you for joining us, Victoria. We're so happy to have you on in this membership. Man, this is amazing. It's amazing to see you guys all coming in. Thank you guys so much. And you know, how many hours are we into this webinar series so far? 2 hours. This in the 8th hour, going to the 9th hour, and so many of you guys are still on this call with us, still excited to be part of this. And I'm just getting more excited being able to share with you guys and talk. So
I also want to add into the rest of iPad's comment here. And even though he says he's 60, just starting and doing it because I want to see the person that I can become, not just aesthetically, but mentally and socially too. And that's exactly what we're all about right here. So yeah, total alignment with what you're sharing there. With all this discussion around people wondering about how they can connect with other people in their like general age range, or just a general idea of like, has the time for me to be involved already passed, or am I able to get into it now? We might even actually have a community section for that inside the program. That would be very easy to just set up a space for to connect people in that area. So
actually that's interesting because I just did a learning list for the embodiment conference that I'm helping run right now. And it just happens that one of the subjects that was coming up in a number of the speakers that we're having there is what embodied movement looks like as we age. And so we have that is a specific subject, a specific sort of series of lectures that I am involved in, sort of a what's the word? I'm losing the word, but I'm helping bring that together at that, and it's such a cool thing. So yeah, I think that if as we bring in these communities, we're going to work with you guys to specifically answer the questions that you have, and to specifically also bring out your answers. One of the things I'm really excited about with Circle is the fact that it's a networked brain activity, right? I feel blessed that I happened to discover parkour at an early stage in my life, when very few people knew about it, and I had a certain background growing up at the end of a dirt road, and I had a certain background with the people around me. And I was in a position to kind of be at the leading edge of this stuff. And so I've been able to articulate a vision for what movement can mean that seems to be extraordinarily powerful for a lot of people. And that is, that's an interesting thing to hold on to, right? Like I've struggled in the past with my ego. And I found that weirdly though, as the more my stuff grows, the less I feel ego oriented and the more I feel community oriented. And so what is really extraordinarily exciting to me is the idea that this thing that has lived in my head gets to go and be propagated through this extended network, right? That idea of cognition as extended. We're part of these communities, and to create a community of practice here, and then to have that community of practice be communicating and creating solutions and sharing solutions and bringing the bottom up aspect of it out is going to be incredibly powerful. I've been part of this process for years, having been part of the beginning of the parkour community, which organized itself through web forums, right? And I've made the mistake of not recognizing that it was about the bottom up through Parkour Visions, right? I made it all about what I was creating in my mind. And in reality, I had all these wonderful coaches who had all these insights that I wasn't harvesting and bringing fully back in. So part of the technology that we're building here is giving you guys not just the material that we create, but the opportunity to guide that material. And that's what's made what we've done so powerful, is the way that the students have shared what excited them, have shared what made them passionate, and then that guided what we've created. And so this isn't just a we'll try to meet your needs thing. This is actually like, we will work together with you to generate solutions as part of a community process. And so, yeah, man, if there's a bunch of people who are in their 60s and late 50s and 70s who are coming into this, and we're having an ongoing conversation about dynamic aging, that's so exciting, man. I'm not going to be 38 forever. So, so it's good to be communicating with people who are going to be, who I'm going to be sharing information that's going to help them, and they're going to be sharing information and guidance and archetypes for how we move forward into that in our own lives. So thank you guys. Johanny, hopefully I pronounced that okay. Give me a thumbs up if I did all right. This is just a random thing. It was really important in the early days for some folks to pronounce the parkour movements in French, but we didn't know how to say things in French. So there's a movement in parkour which we call a Kong vault in English, which is called, my pronunciation is not perfect, but something like saut du chat in French. But I didn't know that, so I called it a saut du chat. And then I went to France and I was talking to Erwin, the founder of MoveNat, and I was like, oh, we should practice some saut du chats. So funny story there. Yes, jump of the cat. It's not the same as the ballet jump, but it is a parkour skill. So she says, thank you so much for all of this. I would never have imagined that when I clicked on a sponsored link on Facebook, but I don't regret it. I have the same problem that Leonie has. I'm not sure I can fall asleep. It's past midnight here, and tomorrow it'll be hard to work if I don't sleep. So goodbye, everybody. Thanks so much. Very excited to take the first steps of this amazing journey with you. So thank you very much for sharing, Joanie. Sleep well. I'll give you a little piece of advice for getting to sleep well tonight. Go check out my friend Kit Lachlan. He has a series of lying meditations that you can use to help you start to relax. And so you can do some breath work, and you can do a body scan, and it will help you get to sleep if you're excited, and that'll help you with your day tomorrow. So thank you, and good night.
And of course, we'll be seeing you on the inside here in
see you on Tuesday.
On Tuesday, yeah. And so cool. Glad to get to know you a bit more. I also want to do a shout out to a couple other people who've come in annually. We got Shannon and Tanya. So welcome aboard.
Way to commit, Tanya. Get past the fear.
There was
Kit Lachlan. Kit Lachlan. He's an amazing flexibility, mobility, relaxation teacher, Zen. He'll be definitely one of the people that we're going to be having on our podcast and sharing some of his research and bringing some guides to you guys. He's a wonderful teacher and friend, and also a man in his, I think, late 60s who has wonderful movement qualities. I met him, I think in 2014, and I got him to jump off Wacom Falls. So he did a 17-foot jump into a lake, which was the first time he'd ever jumped off a cliff, because he grew up in Australia where there weren't very many cliffs. And so, Kit Lachlan, I'll put that in here. Good. So Leonie says, thank you and good night. Thank you, Leonie.
We also had a clarification about the bonuses. So Rafe, if you want to bring that slide back up, then we'll just have that for reference. In particular, one of the things that was coming up was, if you check out and you have the annual package, then you will see an option to upgrade and get the summit as well. It's not necessary. That was just kind of a technical limitation that we had to put in place with the software that we were using. So you will get that if you purchase the annual, then you're going to get the summit automatically. So don't worry about that. If you were charged by mistake or you accidentally hit the wrong button, then just let us know, and we can process that make sure everything's taken care of. If you are on the monthly rate, then that does not include the summit. And so that is available for the monthly people. And so all the bonuses that we have available, again, so we got inside the core program is the what and how to train. You're getting access to over 150 videos inside the member vault, including courses like ground flow, vaults 1 and 2, climbing, breaking in break falls and rolls, jumping, and walls, which is like an upgrade to a bunch of things. And this is just scratching the surface, because we got a bunch of other ones that are available and coming soon that your voice can help sculpt the direction based on, you know, where we're going as a community. We want to make sure that this is relevant to you guys. We're also looking in the core of the program, who will you become with mindfulness routines and practices, everything from reflection templates and accountability check-ins, mindfulness practices and meditation, as well as the executive guides for the podcast. And we will start doing those moving forward, and then we'll start backtracking as we're able. Maybe we'll do like a little bit each time or so, depending on what that need is. The community side, who am I growing with? So yeah, we're jumping on regular calls with you guys. We want to be able to fully support you inside a distraction-free environment. And then if you're getting signed on while the call is still live, and we'll just keep going until all the questions are answered, or everybody has to go to bed, one or the other. And so that one is the getting started call, where we're talking through one-on-one with you. And then within the next day, if you're catching a replay, you can join into the conversation of how to build your practice. We'll have a call around that. And the location scouting as well to implement this at home. Annually, you're also getting granted the 6-week full IMP program, as well as the Movement Summit. And just by joining into the community, then you get a lottery ticket for that retreat, as well as a couple of these other bonuses in here. So that's a big rundown here. If there's any questions about that too, drop those in. Rafe, I think you were ready with the next question.
So Shannon says good night or goodbye. Bye, Shannon. Thank you. We're so excited to have you. So I had a few questions in here. So Colin asks, you know, if his finances changed due to COVID, he's going to be able to stop the monthly payments. And yes, if he's on a monthly plan, he can put a hold on it any month if he runs out of the ability to pay that. And then also, if he did decide to go ahead and upgrade to the annual plan, we still have a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you know, if it's just a thing that you might be able to figure out within the next month, then you have that option as well. So yeah, we have those options available to you.
And then Colin, I noticed you mentioned earlier about needing to talk through some things with your wife, and we definitely would, you know, encourage that. Healthy communication is important. Something that might be worth mentioning is, of course, this would be a household license. And so if you're joining Access, then you can have your wife going through this with you. If you have some kids, we can get them involved as well. So this is something that the family can be a part of. And because we want to grow this community, we want to be able to support each other. And so if it's just you know, that's fine as well. And then you can go through that because we have a good community online. The more people coming in in the academy, then the more that our community can grow and the more we can support each other with, you know, we have an amazing group of people, and we're happy to keep those conversations rolling. Yeah, the monthly rate is a cancel anytime. There's no commitment annually. Then we do have that window if for whatever reason something's not working out. So that's going well over there. Let's see what else we got. Dun, dun, dun. We had a comment earlier about the money back guarantee. Yeah, that is the 30-day window. So yeah, we want you to be able to experience it for yourself, and we'll be processing all the tech stuff here over the next couple of days, make sure that everybody can get logged in and access the content and all that fun stuff. So Noah's saying that it's past 1 a.m. over there, and wants to express deepest appreciation for this whole series. And so we just want to say thank you again for just being a part of this. And if you have any questions too about your particular journey, if the Academy would be a good fit for you or not. I know sometimes people need to take the space to process, like we just dumped a ton of stuff your way. So it's completely understandable if you need time to process those kind of things. And so feel free to reach out to support at any time with any questions. If you think of something like, you know, you're going to the grocery store, then you're just like, oh, this would be a question that like maybe I could do my movement, you know, right here on my commute that you just saw. And you're like, I wonder if I can ask a question about that. You know, just send an email support@evolveandplay.com, message us on Facebook, or not. You know, when we start getting into the community.
message us on Circle.
Yeah, but we'll get into Circle. I mean, part of the reason we're on Facebook is, you know, that's where people are. We got to connect with people, and so we want to just make this accessible. But in time, we will be transitioning everything over to Circle. But yeah, if you do have any questions, we're happy to support you. You're saying thanks so much for your honest and open communication, and you see that, and you're happy to see us at events in the futures, including the Embodiment Conference, more calls, and all of these other events that we have going on. So thank you for being a part of this awesome journey with us.
That's been amazing. Eloy asked if we need a membership to join Circle.
So if you are super excited and you're wanting to log into Circle right now, it's actually going to take us a little bit of time to verify that you have completed a checkout, and we will grant you access inside Circle. So that'll just take definitely before the weekend. You guys will have access to all that. There's just a couple logistical things we wanted to polish out for you guys so it's more accessible. So if that's what you mean, then that is coming soon, just another day or two. If you are not joining the Academy and want to get involved with Circle, then currently that's not something that we're going to be able to offer, because we want to make sure that everything inside Circle is really working well for our member community and our Academy. And after we get like a good rhythm with the people who are in there and everything is transitioned from Facebook, then we were going to have some more conversations about making it more accessible to people, a separate space that is, you know, just generally involved in the community, and then other stuff is locked access only if you're in the membership, or sorry, inside the Academy. But at this time, Circle is only available to people inside the Academy, and then it might be a couple months before we change that. So yeah, if you want to get in that world, we welcome you into the membership and in the Academy.
Got your question answered, Eloy? Awesome, thank you. Deborah asks, if we've signed up for the Academy, we should wait for an email with instructions for Circle?
Yes, wait for an email with instructions from Circle. We'll have a confirmation email that you should have received after checking out. That'll just confirm we did receive your payment. And then of course, we're doing some shout outs as well on the call. But if you're just catching the replay, then you should have a success email right away. And then again, we'll be processing the Circle login credentials here in just a little bit. So those are coming soon, definitely in the next day or two. And we want to make sure that everybody's able to log in, get all their things sorted out before the call on Tuesday. If we need to chat more about it, you know, we'll take care of you. So yeah, let's see what other. I'm seeing a lot of chat in here. I'm trying to catch up. Do you have another question for us, either Justine or Rafe, while I'm chatting?
I think most people are. So Michael says that the household license is really exciting, so that's awesome. So yeah, so we're really excited to be able to get you guys moving with your family. just ask how will everyone schedule the call, just for clarification.
Yeah, so the call will be I'm wondering which call we're actually talking about here.
So if they need to get on a call to figure out if this is right for them.
Oh, the right fit calls. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to be sending off an email about that. Probably, I think that one's going off tomorrow. And there will be a link. It'll just be in the PS. It's a little subtle thing because, you know, we can only have so many conversations with people, you know, and then the day disappears. So keep your eyes out. It'll be the PS at probably the end of the email tomorrow. You can click on that, and it'll take you to a calendar to just book your book the call where we can talk one-on-one and work through any of the particular questions that you have. But yeah, when the call slots are gone, you know, we're going to open up, and Rafe and I will try to see if we can get the tech to have us both be available if we can, and that way we can talk to more of you guys. We want to be able to support you. So yeah, keep your eye out for that email coming tomorrow. We usually send the emails about 11 a.m. Pacific time. So you may have noticed that trend, but just in case, that'll be around the time when it's coming out.
So Bear says, just going to highlight Bear saying this because it's great advertising from one of the students. There is a money-back guarantee. So if you're not conversed in the first 30 days, so you might as well get in and see what it's like and then make your choice, right? It's very low risk, right? So that is a cool thing to highlight. And I saw another one that I wanted to. Eddie said, I'm so excited for the book club, which is really cool. I'm actually really excited about that too. You know, that element of it, that we're going to be organizing discussions and dialogues and community, you know, building around all this material that I've been harvesting for many years, and being able to actually bring in a lot of the authors and speakers and share that with you guys. Like, that alone is like a huge aspect of this. And then to have a whole set of programs to go with it. Yeah, it's going to create a community of practice. I think it's going to be unlike anything that we have seen in the community of practices. So it's a really exciting way to bring together technology that hasn't existed before to facilitate the growth through community practice. So excellent stuff.
I think it does look like we're coming down to the last couple. One question that was here that happened earlier was basically if people need any additional equipment to join into the program. And then we might be just doing maybe some housekeeping and wrap up. We're getting down to the end of our questions.
Sounds
so yeah,
good.
do they need any equipment or outside other things?
They're, you know, well, they're going to need to start finding some things in the environment. So they're going to need to find curbs and rails, and then eventually tree branches. And we have had some students who've been living in very unique situations that have made it difficult for them to find something. So we had one student who lived really deep in nature, and she actually couldn't find any rails or curbs, but she found some fallen logs and was able to replace them there. And we, you know, we've had other students who were in lockdown. And so that's why we've built all these things around how you can actually train in your house, and all these programs that'll help support people when they're in that situation. So that is, that there is no equipment needed for the programs that are in. As we add the strength training program, that will require specific equipment. We'll have options for how to develop stuff without equipment, but the optimal version will involve equipment. And the same thing as we add things like the dynamic games or the martial arts elements, where you're going to want, you're going to need a ball to do it, or you're going to need some gloves and some shin guards eventually. But all that's down the line. You are muted, Andrew.
Yeah, so all you guys can just jump in right away and plug right in to kind of get the ball rolling. Don't worry about any of the other stuff. That's all later on. And all the scouting stuff too, like where do you find this kind of stuff? That's one of the bonuses for you, so we'll take care of you there as well to help you find all of these things, integrate them into your lifestyle, into your routine. So all of those are some fun things. that we have for you guys.
I just found this whole thread about the Embodied Movement Summit. It was really nice. Great feedback. Deb says the videos were phenomenal, profound, provocative, motivational, diverse. I can't say enough. Colin says it was transformational too. Sarah said the summit was unbelievable. You know, so yeah, that is really, really, really great feedback. So yeah, so if there are no questions left, if you got one last question, please do it. Otherwise, there are 9 of you still on the call with us somehow in the 9th or 10th hour of this webinar marathon. So if you're still on the call with us and you want to just unmute yourself and say hi and bye, and we will see you guys all soon. Deborah says, I don't want to miss anything. Deb W, so glad to have you. You can, you are unmuted, so go ahead.
Bye. So nice to talk to you guys.
It's so good to meet you. So good to talk to you. We'll see you on the other side. See you on Tuesday,
Yes,
right?
definitely. Yep, I signed up. I'm so excited to be part of the community. So nice to see everyone and talk to everyone.
Yeah, wonderful. I look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Deborah. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I'm also going to do, we did do a shout out for Victoria, but I just want to verify that all came in. So welcome inside, Victoria, as well. And it looks like that first bonus is disappearing, but we do have some other great stuff for you. If we'll have all that up on the page. You guys can get checked out. Yeah, super excited to have everybody part of the conversation and looking forward to getting to know you more.
Yeah, I expect I'll see many of you on Tuesday. So, well,
yep.
I'll see you all soon.
We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.